Thank you very much for being here. Thank you very, very much. My name is Yasmine Sherif, and I have been asked by our dear friends at Dubai Cares, organizing rewirEd, Dr. Tarek Al-Gurg, to be the moderator for this session. And when I don't moderate this session, I am the executive director of Education Cannot Wait, which is the global fund for education in emergencies and protracted crisis in the United Nations system, but also working very closely with civil society. I would like to thank again the United Arab Emirates for organizing COP28. I spent so much time in Dubai and in the United Arab Emirates because there's so much happening at the global level here. We all know that. I remember 1 month I was going back and forth twice in a month. Everything was going on. And I think it's wonderful to see that happening in this part of the world. Now, and of course, His Excellency, the CEO of Dubai Care, Dr. Tarek Al-Gurg, who is not here at the moment, but I'm sure he's busy elsewhere. We were in a panel before this. Now, I would also, we are a great group together. We all believe in climate change, and we believe that it starts with the foundation of education. It also needs to happen now. We can look into the future, but there is also a present that we are living in. So today, we will be discussing what can we do together. And we will have a prominent panel here that I will just introduce, that will come up with some of those answers and solutions, not because they're speculating, but because they're actually doing it already. They are facing climate disasters, but they are also addressing them right here and now. I would like to wish and applaud and a warm welcome to our panelists. The first one is my dear sister, Her Excellency Awut Deng Achuil, Minister of General Education and Instruction from South Sudan. Come on. Our next guest and panelist is I'll call you my dear brother. You're from Denmark. I'm half Swedish, half Egyptian. Ole Thonke, Undersecretary for the International Development for the Government of Denmark. Welcome, my brother. And the third panelist, the youth is here, right? Yes. It is our Palestinian youth advocate and project coordinator, America, Near East and Refugee Aid, Aya Mohamad Hawarneh, my sister. And finally, she is not here, but she's a wonderful person. She's based in London. Amy Clarke, she's a co-founder of the impact investment company Tribe, Impact Capital, and she will join us via video remarks. And I would refer to her as my sister as well. We are doing great work together. And with this wonderful panel from the world, we have everyone here. We will now discuss what we can do right here and now. And before I hand over to everyone, let me say a few words. Education Cannot Wait just came out with a study, and we focus on children who are suffering conflicts, armed conflicts, and forced displacement. So we are speaking about those left absolutely furthest behind, but who actually deserves to be up front, who on top of these horrendous conflicts and forced displacement and dispossession are facing and living through climate change. Across the Middle East, across sub-Saharan Africa. And Education Cannot Wait just came out with a study showing that 62 million children have this triple suffering of conflict, forced displacement, and climate change. 62 million. That's our latest study of last week. And we know how much goes into spending. We were just listening to Professor Jeffrey Sachs. The trillions that go into military spending in this world. And here we are, education cannot wait. We are a 1.6 billion fund for education in emergency and protracted crisis. And we are trying to make the pitch. We need another $150 million to at least reach another 2 million children coping with climate change, to rebuild their classrooms so that they can withstand the shocks, that we can integrate adaptation, mitigation, and the management of Mother Earth in their curriculum, provide safe water and health when there is drought, when there is flooding, and to ensure that we can use solar system for new technology. So we could ask probably for 1.5 billion or 1.5 trillion, but since the world is so busy making war right now, we are asking for 150 million, and we hope that we will have some pioneers coming forward with the first contributions today, and for anyone who cares about education as the foundation to manage and end climate change and mitigate the impact, please join us in this. Now I will hand over to my colleagues who are on the panel, who will speak about the realities. Now, let me see that I have all the papers here. Sorry, I need to make sure. Well, let me start. Sorry, sometimes when you have so many panels and papers go left and right, there are worse things, as we know. I will start with Her Excellency Minister Awut Deng Achuil, who's the Minister of South Sudan for Education, and I would like to turn to you. Can you tell us a bit about climate change? How is it impacting the young children of South Sudan who have gone through a terrible conflict for decades, who finally came out of it, still experience some form of conflict, but also making huge progress thanks to your leadership in the education sector. Nevertheless, having said that, you are facing also climate change in addition to all other perils. Please, how is it impacting them, and what are you doing?
Thank you very much. Can you hear me? First, I would like to register my gratitude to the invitation extended to me by Dr. Tariq to come and participate, and also thank to my sister Yasmine, which we have been together in this journey. Thank you very much for having me and for the brilliant question. First and foremost, climate change is real, and it has a huge impact on education in South Sudan. For the last 4 years, part of our country almost submerged underwater. And this water, I have never seen water, that comes and never recedes. The water is still on the ground up to today. So you hardly see the land. And just a week ago, I was in one of the state, unity state, to see the climatic shocks has displaced so many communities and children. Children are walking using the dike as a road, and the teachers to access school. And 40% of our schools in that state have been closed for the last 4 years, since 2021. And when I was there trying to actually renovate schools, we could not get access to the school because they're still underwater. So what does it mean for the children? It means that the enrollment has declined, retention in the school, and we had, before the pandemic, we had 2.3 million children in the school. But today, we have 2.1 million out of school children because of the displacement of climate shock. And even when we had the resources, it was not easy to be able to access school, to be able to build classroom. We had a project that we were supposed to implement. It took us 2 years struggling to use boats to carry materials for school construction. So climate change is real, and those who are paying the price is the educators, where the schools are not accessible, where children cannot learn, where teachers cannot access the facilities. So I would say it is time for us to think the best way that we don't interrupt the learning during the crisis of climate change, because we are handling conflicts which has gone, we're implementing peace agreement, and now in addition to climate change. In the third edition, Sudan crisis, which also affecting us, so many children are displaced, have come to South Sudan, whether they are refugees or returnees, a huge number is already in South Sudan. So per teacher, right now, a class is 120 in the classroom. So I want to rest my case there, but that's the impact. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. And just to remind everyone, when it comes to South Sudan, we have a brilliant Minister of Education. We have a young country that really has the political will to rebuild. And still, we have at least a shortfall of the $25 million to have a completely fully funded education cannot wait multi-year investment in South Sudan. So I call upon all, please help us fully fund the 175 million multi-year resilient program in South Sudan for education. When you have to use boats to transport material because you have flooding, I think it's a very strong reminder that we need to be there for those who have less, and we who have more have to be the one that not only gives but to share. Thank you very much. Thank you. I will now move over to, yes, I'll move over. Brother, you will have to be the third one. I move over to Aya. Aya is a Palestine refugee in Lebanon. And so you are in a context in Lebanon, and as we know, Lebanon is facing so many challenges already. So how do you have time to think about climate change? And what is it that is so crucial to consider when you link climate change to education?
Hello, everyone, and thank you for participating here. And thank you for your question. In Lebanon, as we're navigating through critical, unstable times, we're struggling with a crisis, economic crisis, and the conflict in the southern borders, and many other challenges. These challenges have increased the livelihood issues, the food insecurity, the shortage of the essential services, and so on, especially for the vulnerable communities that we live in. And what we're experiencing in Lebanon, I believe it's the same or likely mirrored to the broader region context. So throughout these pressing challenges, I believe that the critical aspect of missing prioritizing climate change in our ongoing programs, for example, like the absence of climate change component within the local communities, results in unpreparedness through the emergency and sudden emergency crisis, or the lack of the correct knowledge and practices toward or for the environmental health and climate change in general. So basically, it's important to, from my perspective, to integrate the climate change component within the both formal and informal education channels, and to engage the community through extensive awareness programs that can leverage the expertise and the resources more within the community, and to know exactly what's the community's needs toward the climate change and to work ongoing within that mission. So I believe aligning our programs within the climate change education and the needs of the community can have more sustainable results. And let's say we can gather the commitment of the community all over to have like a goal for the entire society. Like we have to get the commitment from the entire society. Thank you.
Lovely. Thank you so very much. But the emphasis is on the communities.
Yes.
And I think we all know the needs in Lebanon are enormous. And if you're going to work on climate, Education Cannot Wait has a very strong collaboration with the Ministry of Education in Lebanon, just like in South Sudan. And we just met a couple of weeks ago in Paris with the minister. And we hope to continue to work, provided, of course, that the support is there for us to integrate education and climate change for Lebanon, for South Sudan, and so many other places. We cannot do it without financing. Thank you so much, my dear. Now we move over to Mr. Ole Thonke, the Development Minister of Denmark. And let me say this, that Denmark is a very, very strong, generous, and action-oriented partner of Education Cannot Wait. And have always stood there with us and always shown sharing, generosity, and belief in results that we are doing, a big and enormous, strong strategic partner to Education Cannot Wait. And so it's wonderful that you are here again, and I think also with some good news. I need to ask you, Your Excellency, why is it so important to unlock new resources for funding from the private? This is a question. What is the intersection between climate change and education? And can you explain why Denmark is taking such a strong leadership here? Because you are indeed.
Does this work?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, great. Thank you so much, Yasmine, for that introduction. But I mean, for us, really, the climate change and development is completely intertwined and interlinked. And we even in Denmark now have a minister for development cooperation and global climate policy. So in our ministry where I work, we really try to look at it from, I mean, it's two sides of the same coin, basically. And I've seen it myself in my previous work on the Horn of Africa, in both in Somalia, in Ethiopia, and Kenya. We just came out of the worst drought in 40 years in that region, and that had a huge impact on how many children actually had the possibility to go to the schools. Because what happens when you have such a terrible drought, especially the girls will drop out, poverty will increase, girls will be married away at an earlier age and pulled out of school because there's no money in the family. And then immediately after this drought, we have seen the worst floods in those areas because of El Nino. And we have the reverse, exactly as the minister explained, from Sudan in the same area. So, and these are the most vulnerable and poor, marginalized children on earth that are really suffering this. So, and we all know what happens if children are not educated, but we also know the huge benefit if they are, and if we can somehow make sure that the schools are prepared for climate change in terms of the infrastructure, but also make sure that the children, when they go to school, they learn and understand about climate change. It can really be a huge transformational change for the future, actually. So we are completely committed, and we really believe we need to do more on this agenda. That's why we have engaged with Education Cannot Wait. We actually just agreed on our new long-term partnership, but I'm really happy to be here today to announce that on top of everything we have and what we have just agreed, we have found 45 million Danish kroner, it's $6.6 million extra.
Yeah, we are celebrating.
Yeah.
This is yours, by the way.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. But we found $6.6 million extra for this effort. We just have to have the final approvals done. But really to support this work, which we fundamentally believe is so important.
Wonderful, wonderful. Can we give another round of applause to Denmark and the minister? Basically, they are coming in as the first contributor to lead the way as a shining light for all to follow. Please spread a message. Denmark took charge and invested. Thank you so much. And we know that you are always there. I just wish everyone could be like you. Thank you. I realize we are going to watch a movie now. And that is from Amy Clarke, private sector, and she will make some remarks. After that, because we're running so behind time, I will ask you in 1 or 2 sentences to answer a couple of questions, 1 question each, but we will have 1 or 2 sentences. Should we watch the video? Please. Thank you.
Firstly, I must pass my deepest thanks to Dubai Cares, to Yasmine and the Education Cannot Wait team for very kindly inviting me to participate in rewirEd. It's a real honour to share some of my thoughts amongst such an esteemed panel of speakers. Although I'm really sorry that I can't be there in person, I hope my message will resonate with you and inspire you actually to ask for more. Now, I realise how fortunate I am to live somewhere where education is free at point of access. That's something I actually personally benefited from throughout my primary and my secondary education. I also live somewhere where I have access to the care and the support I need to maintain good health. My well-being is coded into the DNA of the fabric and the infrastructure of where I live. But is it coded into my wealth? Is it coded into yours? The term wealth is derived from the old 13th century English word wella, which means well-being. I think we can probably all agree, however, that since then, money has come to symbolize status and a state of richness, not a state of well-being. And that's pretty much why we set up Tribe. Money, like technology, when managed responsibly and equitably distributed, is the currency of change. And at Tribe, we work with wealth holders from the retired worker with their small nest egg to ultra-high net worth individuals, from charitable foundations to businesses. And we support them to increase the flow of capital to the solutions that help deliver the SDGs and the Paris Agreement. We basically recode their capital with the currency of well-being. Now, how do we do that? Well, we invest in transparent, inclusive, and purpose-driven companies and institutions that deliver value to society through products and services that tackle key social, environmental, or economic challenges. And by doing this, we support their growth. And when they grow, society and the planet benefits. This is not ESG, this is impact-driven investing. This is purposefully seeking out and investing in the businesses that are actively and intentionally creating a future-fit society. Why do we do this? Because they are our best bets in the battle for our collective future. They're also some of the best bets for our economies. Research from B-Lab in the UK has found that a nationwide shift to purpose-led business will secure a game-changing purpose dividend of £149 billion worth in boost to UK GDP per year. That's a 7% uplift. And talking of purpose, we're a B Corporation, which means we care about all of our stakeholders, not just our shareholders and our investors. We listen to them, we respond to them, and we partner with them for the changes that are needed and required. We align with their needs as much as our own, and that's why we have an approved science-based target as an example. But we're also a commercial business, and the commercial reality is that there is little to no chance of a functioning economy at the current pathway of 2.9 degrees of warming, no matter what the current economic models might be telling us. It's an illusion. Investing as we do is an act of self and collective preservation as much as it is about mission. We know that between $5.5 and $6.5 trillion worth of investment per year is needed between now and 2030 to deliver the SDGs. Now, there was over $22 trillion of assets invested in private market equity at the end of 2022, whilst it's estimated that there's over $109 trillion worth invested in global public equity in 2023. Now, that's just shy of $132 trillion of total investment, and that's just the equity markets. So let's face it, there is more than enough capital around to affect the transitions required. But is it going where the money is really needed, where the change that we need is being delivered? According to the latest Global Sustainable Investing Alliance report, over $30 trillion is now invested sustainably. So money is obviously moving, but it's not enough. And this is where governments can help. They need to seed and support the conditions to further accelerate the transition in finance. They need to demand more of business and the finance system and support those good faith, purposeful actors to continue to succeed, whilst also delivering the conditions for more to evolve and grow. Governments and NGOs can't deliver the SDGs and the Paris Agreement by themselves. They need business and they need finance. It's a partnership approach, radical collaboration. That's why we're proud to support Education Cannot Wait and stand alongside them as they seek to fight today for our children by providing the critical educational infrastructure needed. We are investing for their future, for the children's tomorrows. I really wish you, Yasmine, the Education Cannot Wait team, and you all the very best of wishes with your work during COP and beyond. It falls to you, with the support and partnership of the finance industry, to lead the change. We can do this, and we will do this.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Amy, wonderful partner. And because she spoke, now we have, I see time's up. So I'm going to give one sentence. Punchy, the elevator pitch. Since she spoke about private sector, I will turn to Minister Thonke first, and then I will move on to Minister Deng Achuil, and then eventually to Aya El Hawarneh. So, because besides working very closely with the Danish government, and Amy was speaking of the private sector, we are also working very closely in a tripartite between the Danish Ministry of Development, the Lego Foundation that is Danish, and ECW. And that is such a model example. So maybe I should turn to you. Why is it so important for private sector to join forces with public sector?
No, thank you so much, Yasmine. I mean, first of all, obviously there's not enough money. So one of the reasons is the funding, and some of these private sector companies that work in the education sector, like Lego does, because they have this philosophy that you learn much better when you play. And so it's a win-win between the private foundation and Education Cannot Wait, for instance. So that's the obvious reason that why we have to drag them in. And we are having also at Ministry of Foreign Affairs a great collaboration with the private sector in this endeavor that we'll need to continue in the future to meet what we are up against.
Wonderful, wonderful. I think, again, an applaud for the Denmark and the Danish government and Danish private sector. We wish every strategic donor partner could operate the way that Denmark is operating. Then over to you, Your Excellency Minister Awut Deng Achuil. Now, your quick feeling of how far have we come working together, the government of South Sudan, your ministry, and Education Cannot Wait to address climate change and education. Yes, something that inspires us all.
Well, thank you. Thank you, my sister Yasmine. I think we believe in strategic partnership. And because there is no one that can achieve this goal alone. So Education Cannot Wait has been a strategic partner in South Sudan. And this year, we have launched a joint program on climate resilience. And this is helping with the children affected by climate change in building infrastructure, which is resilient to climate, and also building the classroom that are friendly. Looking at the heat today, it is unbearable. There are places in South Sudan where you have drought throughout and has displaced communities. So we have to change the classroom to be friendly to the students. So we are working on that. We are also working with the environmental club in the school to plant trees so that children know the importance of environment. We can't pass to the generation that this environment that has already been harmed by human activities And I believe that children can bring solution to what is going to happen in the future. The last one is working with the teachers. We have to prepare the teachers to be able to help the student, prepare them for an environmental crisis ahead of time so that they will be able to navigate and build into resilience. We're also now working, we have already integrated climate in our curriculum, but we wanted to see how we can improve on adaptation of resilience into our curriculum so that our schools are able to, meet the hardest challenges that are coming ahead. So education cannot wait. I can say this is an institution that has not wait when there are crises, whether it is conflict, whether it is flood, whether it is fire, whether it is what, they are there to save the life of the children. People don't believe that saving education is saving life. They only believe that giving humanitarian assistance is saving life. But the child will drink water and say, where can I go to school? This is very important. So temporarily, tents for emergency is not going to work for anywhere in the world. So we need to adapt to resilient infrastructure for education. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you. Very last question. Thank you so much. And very last question. And it's going to be a simple question, but a powerful question. Maybe we should stand up. You will join us later. But what can the youth do to change things? I will say to you what I think. Power to the youth. Now tell us, what can you do?
Thank you. I will try my best to be fast. So my message is to open call for collaboration, and to share responsibility. To have, like, in Lebanon or in the MENA region, we have like opportunities related to climate change or concerning climate change. Just we need a collective effort. Firstly, my message is for to recognize the youth. We can be an active contributors. We can be involved in the decision making. We can do change. We can do a difference in our future. So number one is to recognize the potential that we have as youth as catalyst for change. Second, to think about investments more in initiatives, youth-led initiatives that is more related to environmental health and climate change, and also activities that is related to consolidating the education within the climate change as one component. And I believe this is an investment in the future also. Lastly, I believe like promoting collaboration between the public and private sectors together as two entities is also important, like leveraging the resources, the expertise, the networking, including us as youth. So gathering all our resources together, we can unlock potentials for better future, especially for the climate change. Thank you.
Bravo!